Dinner tonight at the Renaissance of Home Cooking. Chicken drumsticks, chicken pops, broccoli slaw, asparagus. Stay tuned and you can see the thoughts and the process that goes on behind the conception, preparation, and execution of this awesome meal. You really need to subscribe to the Renaissance of Home Cooking.
I did some research. Check it out.
Right in the dictionary. Renaissance. That's us. The great rebirth of art literature 15th. Not that one. Any rebirth or revival like this. It's prophetic. You can get on the ground floor of something really big. So I'm inviting you inside my head. Are you sure you want to do that? To see the thought process I use to put a restaurant quality meal in front of my family every day. So let's get started. I've come across so many chicken cells lately that my freezer is telling me, eat some chicken. So how does chicken drumsticks sound? All right, chicken drumsticks it is. And along with that, how about broccoli slaw? Broccoli slaw? No, really, it's delicious. I mean, sure, broccoli slaw is bland in its own right, but we are going to put some complex flavors in that, and it's going to be so easy to do. And since asparagus seems to be on sale just about everywhere, I'm going to go ahead and get some of that too. The next thing I'm going to do is go through all the ingredients for this meal, and then that way I can put together a shopping list and go get the things that I need to buy. For the chicken, of course I'm going to need chicken, and I'm going to use garlic and salt and pepper. So since I have those ingredients already, all I have to really be sure of is to make sure I get that chicken out of the freezer in time. I will purchase my broccoli slaw at the store in the bag, but to see what would be a good flavor affinity to go along with it, I will consult my flavor Bible. I want the broccoli slaw to be savory with a hint of acid to balance it out, so I'll put in onion, garlic, of course the broccoli slaw. I'll add tomatoes and oregano and parsley, and then I'm going to finish it with basil and lemon. And of those items, I'm going to need to buy the broccoli slaw, I need to buy tomatoes, and I need to buy basil. And I also need to add asparagus to my shopping list. Since I'll be using wine in a wine reduction, I need wine, but I have that, and I'll use a couple of tablespoons of butter. One of the tips on being an effective home cook is getting as much prep done in advance as you can. That way everything will just be easier and more organized when the cooking actually begins. And another thing that's hard for me to do is, and it's my Achilles heel, is to just get everything timed right. So you cook the long lead items first and then the other items after that. So I'm going to be off to the store to pick up a few items and we'll catch up in the kitchen. So when I make chicken drumsticks, one thing my wife really likes is when I cut them down into chicken pops. It makes them look a little bit more gourmet, certainly nicer than just a standard chicken drumstick. They're actually a little easier to eat, and kids seem to like them quite a bit too. Here's how you do it. To do that, you just find a good spot on the chicken here. You just cut it right straight through. Right down through the tendons and the muscles. whip up a little garlic paste. And then you take that garlic and you just rub it all over the chicken, and then season each piece with salt and pepper. And then I take all that chicken, put it into a gallon Ziploc bag and refrigerate it, and I just take it out 2 hours before I'm going to need to cook it. As for the asparagus, I really like to cook asparagus in a wine reduction because the flavor of the asparagus goes into the wine reduction and the flavor of the wine reduction goes into the asparagus. So truly amazing. Since it takes about 15 to 18 minutes for the asparagus to cook, but only about 8 to 10 minutes for the wine to reduce, I'm going to need to blanch the asparagus ahead of time so that when the wine is reduced, the asparagus is cooked perfectly. And that's another part of my do-ahead prep. To do that, first I prep the asparagus, and easy enough to do. You just, asparagus snaps. The fibery part that you don't want to eat just snaps right off, like so. Take those, line them up with the rest of them. They're all about the same. There we have it, prepped asparagus. And then I just drop that asparagus right into boiling hot water for just about 5 minutes. Then you just take the asparagus and put it right into an ice bath where it will stay until it's time to cook. Tomatoes are a perfect accompaniment with broccoli slaw. So what I'd like to use is like cherry or grape tomatoes. I'll cut them in half, and that's another thing that I can prep ahead of time. When it comes time to cook the drumsticks, I'm going to go ahead and sear them off in a little bit of hot oil. And after the drumsticks are all seared up real nice, I'm going to go ahead and put them into a 385-degree oven just to finish them off, and I'll probably turn them every 5 or so minutes. So I'm going to start the broccoli slaw with garlic and onion, and while the chicken is roasting in the oven, I can go ahead and prep the onion and the garlic, and I'll go ahead and prep the parsley at the same time. garlic, the sofrito. And I'll just wait for the onions to turn translucent. So then I like to do a wine reduction in that onion and garlic sofrito, and that wine reduction is what builds that complex flavor base that we're going to use in our broccoli sauce. Once that wine is reduced and that flavor's there, and by that I mean taste it, and season to taste if necessary. Oftentimes wine reductions don't need anything. At that point I would add the broccoli slaw and the tomatoes and go ahead and put in the oregano and parsley. So if everything goes according to plan, the chicken will finish just ahead of the broccoli slaw. So what I do next is take the chicken out, lay it out on a cutting board, and let it rest. Once the chicken's out of the pan and resting, I can go ahead and start the wine reduction in that pan, and that's the same wine that I'm going to be cooking the asparagus in. When that wine is reduced and the asparagus is finished, I'm going to go ahead and pour that sauce off through a screen into a coffee cup just to get the burned stuff that's in that sauce out of there. Then it's time to plate and serve. So, to subscribe, click on the red button down below. You can click on the title for more information and description, or you can click on the Renaissance of Home Cooking, and that will take you right to my YouTube channel for other really cool videos.